good, guys? How's everybody doing? Back again to deliver another request from one of my beta level tiers on Patreon. This is Lorenzo Small's last request that he asked me. Lorenzo, thank you so much as always. You're killing me, Smalls. And I delivered your first two, and I'm looking forward to what you have for me next time. Now, for everybody, once again, I wanted to update everybody for the Patreon. Beta level members. That is where you are able to request videos, a certain amount. The highest is the alpha levels. But beta levels, I upped it now from 3 videos to 4. You can ask 4 questions. You can ask me to do 4 videos. Doesn't matter what it is. You can ask me to do it. And I just recently got my 10th Patreon. Jimmy. I don't know who he is. I just know his name is Jimmy. And I'm hoping to get answers to who he is, like who he is on YouTube or anything like that, but he is a new member of the Patreon, my Patreons, and he is also an Uber Pack member. So thank you so much as always for that. So Lorenzo asked me to do one more video, and the last video is 8 actresses I could have seen playing Aunt May in the MCU besides Marisa Tomei, the lovely Marisa Tomei. Okay, well, let's take this back before I get into the 8 actresses I could have seen. First things first, there will be no actresses on this list that are in their 30s or 40s. All these actresses are in their 50s or 60s. I'm gonna let you guys know right there. For me, as a huge comic book fan and lover of Spider-Man, y'all know me, I am a huge Spider-Man fan. He is my favorite superhero in comics. He comes before everybody else, and he has one of the best supporting cast ever. There are a few others that can match him, but ain't a lot. Same thing with his enemies. There ain't a lot. There's only a few, not a lot of people, not a lot of heroes. But Aunt May, Peter's beloved aunt who loves him to death and always wants best for her nephew. You gotta remember one thing. She is not blood related to Peter. She's Peter's aunt through marriage. The blood comes from Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben is Peter's maternal blood relative, because Peter's dad is Ben's brother. So remember that. But no matter what, Aunt May is always looked at as being that beloved aunt that you love, and she'd make cookies for you and things like that. Comic-wise, they make her very old. And I looked at her and I said, okay, so because of the year Uncle Ben and her were born, you know, I look at her more as maybe being a great aunt, you know. And when they adapted her to the movies, when they adapted her live action, they kind of went that route. Rosemary Harris, who played her, that followed the cliche of the Aunt May that many of us read in the comics. Loving, but seasoned, older. Then, even in the comics, they started to somewhat de-age her a little bit. Like, especially when the Ultimate comics came out, I would pick that Aunt May was in her like her late 50s or 60s, and so kind of that's why I would assume that's why they went with Marisa Tomei as Aunt May and in the MCU. But I also felt like they could have played some serious jokes with that, because Marisa Tomei is hot as hell, and I'm like, good God. So they could have played up that. But with that being said, I had to make that joke. But with that being said, guys, Lorenzo, I hope you enjoy this list. These are 8 actresses I could have seen. Like I said, once again, let me repeat. These actresses there are no actresses in their that are in their 30s, late 40s or 40s, and everybody's in their 50s, late 50s or early 60s and beyond. I will, so just letting you guys know, if you don't like my list, tough. It's my list, not yours. You can do your own. But this is for Lorenzo. He wanted to know, and let's do it. Here we go, bro. So this one so number one on the list, yes, Helen Mirren. Now I know a lot of people say, Chris, dude, she's 77 years old. I don't care. This 77-year-old actress is great. This 77-year-old actress is a seasoned vet. And this 77-year-old is still and is showcasing that even when you're seasoned and older, you can still have fun. Look at some of the movies she has done in the past where she was doing action. I love that. Miss Mirren makes up what I feel would be the ideal choice for an aunt, because I look at it also from my perspective. Most of my aunts, from my father's sisters to my mother's four sisters, many of them are in their late 50s, early 50s, early 60s. None of them are past that. Now, when I'm going to my grandmother's sisters, my great aunts, yeah, that's the case. But Miss Mirren just makes up that case. I'm just like, it would have been really cool to see. And people saying, oh, if there's anybody out there saying, oh, she can't do an American accent, then what are you watching? Because she's done American accent a couple of times. Just saying. I had to get that out of the way right now. Helen Mirren, number one. Number two on the list. Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, I don't know how much of this is real, but there's a rumor that Miss Curtis is a little upset that she has not been casted in a Marvel movie. I guess she wants to be in one. Why not? You know, Miss Curtis, Jamie Lee Curtis has wowed us. They couldn't consider her one of the scream queens. But she's also an actress that can have fun. She's a big geek. I mean, guys, have we not seen her at conventions? She's a big Street Fighter fan. I mean, come on. Just a lot of things. And when you look at Jamie Lee Curtis, especially when she's one that does not dye her hair, she lets her gray rock, and I love that. She's not afraid of that. She reminds me of Ultimate Aunt May. Ultimate Aunt May had the short cut hair, but gray. I could see her. Jamie Lee Curtis was born November 22nd, 1958. So she's in her early 60s. She was born the same year my mother was born. So yeah, she's in her early 60s, but still, I'm a big fan of hers. I love her work. And let's not, you cannot deny that she could have been a good Aunt May. Just saying. There's other characters I could have seen her playing too, but maybe I'll work that into Fan Casting 8. But you can only watch Fan Casting 8 somewhere, only on Patreon. Sorry. So yes, Jamie Lee Curtis. Number 3, Catherine O'Hara. Yes, Catherine O'Hara, if anybody who is from the 90s, I know she's got the comedic background, and she can be really funny. But most people know her. Well, for me, I think the first movie I seen her in was Beetlejuice. That was the first time I saw her. She was in Beetlejuice, and then later on, she played Mrs. McAllister, and she's the deadbeat mother. Leaving your kids at home. You know you got arrested for that? No, I'm just sorry. But no, she's another one I could have seen playing Aunt May. Being the caring and loving aunt but also believable in age as well. And if, being a little bit more funnier, but you would want that cool aunt. I got cool aunts. I'm gonna let you guys know right now. I got cool aunts. So, and a lot of them make me laugh and know how to make me laugh, but I got cool aunts. So it's only fair for Peter to have a cool aunt. And I think personally, she could work well with Tom Holland. Just saying. Number 4 on the list. Yeah, you're not mistaken with that. That is the one and only Meg Ryan. Now, yes, she took a hiatus from acting and then came back, started working more behind the camera. Then she came back in 2018. I forgot what series she came back. But Meg is another one that meets the age requirement, I feel, for Aunt May. I mean, she's another one that's, I believe, in her early 60s. She's another one I feel could work well as an Aunt May. She'd be on the shorter side, but still, Aunt May nonetheless. Besides, all these women are probably some cool aunt in any way. And I have always had a love for Meg Ryan. I always have. I've seen a lot of movies she was in, and I've always had a love and respect for her as an actress, and never was like, she's not really that talented. No, I've always had a love for Meg Ryan. So yeah, Meg Ryan makes the list. Number 5 on the list. This goes back to me childhood, because I'm a child of the 80s. So you would only suspect me to throw some actress. Well, most of these actresses are from the 80s or so, but one that I can kind of say I kind of grew up with in a sense, even though she was way older than me. But Elizabeth Shue. I think Elizabeth Shue. Now, this is maybe because I do have a crush on the woman, and this woman don't age at all. I don't know what she is doing. Is she found the fountain of youth. She's only 58, but she don't look her age. We say it all the time, black don't crack, right? Well, so she's doing something that is working for her. But I could have seen Elizabeth Shue as Aunt May too. You want to keep it in that trend of but I could have seen that. I think she could have been, once again, a fun aunt that could have worked well and be believable of raising a young teenager nephew. Point simple. I mean, we all love Elizabeth Shue. Am I wrong to say that? I don't think so. Just saying. Number 6 on the list. Yes. Brook Shields. Now, some of you would probably say, but wait, she's brunette, Chris. What color hair was Marisa Tomei? They didn't go with the traditional white color hair or anything like that. Hell, even in the cartoon, the few cartoons, Aunt May had blonde hair. The 90s cartoon, she was blonde. She was legitimately blonde. Older, but she was an older blonde woman. Just saying, yes. And we do know Aunt May, when she was younger, had brunette. She was a brunette, if I'm not mistaken. So yes, but I'm a fan of Brook Shields too. I think it's her eyes that just wow me. It's something about those eyes. Those eyes. I'm doing my macho man. I'm sorry, but yeah, she's another one. Seasoned, veteran, has played mother figures. And it works. I know you don't want to typecast actresses like in that role, and I think that's the case Marisa Tomei has said about. I think I read an article about her career. Like, she has played more motherly figures than anything, and she wishes, and she always almost gets casted as that. And I do wish that would stop. You don't want to get typecasted. I understand where she's coming from for that. But yeah, I can see it. Number 7 on the list. Yes. The Melissa Mcbride. Melissa Mcbride, of course, most of us know her from the Walking Dead series. She has, to me, that ideal Aunt May look. Again, going back to the short hair, showing the gray. No fear of that. Still looking somewhat the Aunt May of the Ultimate Universe. Now, remember, in Into the Spider-Verse, legendary comedic actor Lily Thompson played her. Now, she's a little older. She's in her 80s. But she and her best friend, Bridget Fonda, are in their 80s. But, they look good for their age. Okay? Same thing with Helen Mirren. Don't care what you say. She looked good for her age. Melissa Mcbride is another one of those that I could see. And I'm like, yes. The very distilled working class Aunt May that is doing this and doing that, but still raising a teenager works for me. Just saying. And last but not least on the list, another talent, in my opinion, that I could have seen playing Aunt May. The last, who could it be? The talented Emma Thompson. Miss Thompson is another one of those talented actors from the UK that just wows me every time I see a movie with them. It is something about actresses from the UK or actors from the UK. They're so talented, in my opinion. I never get tired of it. It's just like I watch them and I'm like, these are people who have worked their craft. They know what they're doing. And Miss Thompson is just another one of them that I'm just like, she can be funny, she can be serious, she can be sweet, she can be loving. I haven't watched that movie on Hulu that she's in, but I definitely want to watch it. But I think she could be another one of those great actresses from the UK to play Aunt May. Just in my opinion. There you have it, guys. 8 actresses that I could have seen playing Aunt May in the MCU outside of Marisa Tomei. Once again, this was requested by Lorenzo Smalls, one of my patrons. Thank you so much, Lorenzo. I appreciate it as always, my man. I'll look forward to seeing what you give me next time. I'm looking forward to it. Now it's time to get to another beta level request. Jimmy. I don't know who Jimmy is. Maybe I'll go on Patreon and I'll ask him, like, do I know you? Because you called me by name. You said Chris, and I'm like, okay, only certain people call me that by name. So who are you on YouTube? I gotta check that out. But I'm gonna get to his list soon. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. I appreciate it as always, guys. I look forward to continuing to do this for my patrons. Yes, this will be going up on both YouTube and Patreon. It will go on both. I feel like these requests are I'll let everybody see them on both sides of the track. But outside of that, guys, thanks for watching. I will see you guys with more down the road. Deuces.